You're watching Coronavirus in Connecticut, a Face the State special report.
Once again, Governor Lamont is joining us from the executive residence to answer your questions. Governor, thank you once again. A viewer wrote to me and said we should call this Thursdays with Ned and Den. Kind of a fun name, but we might stick with Face the State for a little bit. Let's talk about the rule or policy of keeping family members out of certain buildings like hospitals and nursing homes, group homes. Tammy of West Hartford sent us an email about her 30-year-old daughter who has developmental disabilities and lives with her. She says she can never be left alone. How can she be left on her own when she's in a crisis situation in the hospital? New York now deems the support person essential to the care of the patient. What is stopping this from happening in Connecticut as well? And Governor, do you foresee like a date where people can start visiting people in the hospital?
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, tomorrow is too late. I know everybody under the control of DEMAS and special services here in Connecticut, we take care of that. You can have that loved one go in with you. And we're working collaboratively with the hospitals to make sure their policies mirror what we're trying to do.
I know it's really tough for people who have loved ones in nursing homes right now. A woman named ALECIA living in Hartford tells us that her father's in a nursing facility right now, and they learned the facility has COVID cases, like many do, after receiving a letter in the mail. She and her brothers are not allowed into that facility now, but she does talk with the caregivers frequently and writes this question about COVID cases when we call, so I'm not sure why we weren't told. We are the voice of the elderly who can't fight for themselves, so I'm looking for answers. Is there a procedure that to notify family members when there's a COVID case in the hospital or the nursing home? Do they have to call, or does it have to be in a letter that arrives a few days later?
No, they have an obligation to contact the family members immediately, especially if somebody is ill. And that's what the policy is. At the same time, they have to tell we, the state, so we have good data in terms of what's going on at every nursing home. Then, as you probably know, we've gone out and physically inspected every nursing home, made sure they collaborated with our reporting procedures, made sure they did what they had to do in terms of infections and transmission thereof, and made sure they knew how to handle the PPE. Those are the masks and the gowns they need to do. And most of it are doing very well. There are some outliers, so they've got to clarify that.
We have a lot of questions about these antibodies. Lon Seidman wrote in through LinkedIn about it, and this one from Lee in Glastonbury. What efforts are being made to provide both COVID-19 and antibody testing to the wider community to catch asymptomatic carriers? For example, one state is giving both to every person at the testing site. Another is allowing no pre-screen before test. Can't we organize something like that to get as many people tested here as possible?
Yeah, that's a really good question. When we ramp up more and more testing, we're going to double the testing we had this week, next week. We are going to do more asymptomatic people. Right now, we tend to test people that sound like they maybe have symptoms related to COVID. So that way, when you're going into a hospital, you're a nurse, you're a nursing home worker, you're a frontline responder, we have a better idea and give you confidence that you don't have COVID. But, the drive-through testing facility with Abbott Labs down in Longshore in New Haven, those people are sort of self-selecting. So we're broadening the mix of people that we're able to test. And yeah, the antibody test, we're doing thousands of those. Very great work at Hartford Health and Yale New Haven is making sure that we can get a better sense of who has been infected in the greater community. And that gives us a direction of perhaps who has the antibodies and what we should be thinking about opening up later on.
Good enough, Governor. Thank you. There's been an emphasis in messaging on the virus that hits people over a certain age. We're going to ask the governor about that. He joins us once again from the executive residence. And older people need to adhere to social distancing more than others. Tom from Enfield has a very relatable question on behalf of fellow grandparents. We've not been in physical contact with our grandchildren for several weeks. If we take every precaution we can, masks, fresh clothes, etc., is it possible we could start to at least give them some hello hugs? All of us are symptom-free. What do you think?
Why are you looking at me when you talk about residents of a certain age? I would really urge you to hold off. I really would. I mean, it's impossible. I know you want to go see your grandparents and your grandparents want to go see you, but right now I think it's risky. And your grandparents are the age group that's at the most risk. And that's where the most danger is. And you would be showing your real love for them. Teach them how to FaceTime. Give them a call, send them a note, send them a video. find different ways to communicate for now, and you'll be together soon enough.
My mom's in her 70s. She has finally aced FaceTime, which is great. So for the grandkids, let's talk about the self-employed and unemployment benefits. We've received a number of questions about the CARES Act and specifically the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program included in it, designed to offer financial assistance to the self-employed. Sharon in Canton writes about this. This money was supposed to be available to us yesterday to apply for these benefits. Where is that link? When will it be made available to us?
It's great being down there in Congress. You can come up with a great bill. You can say, let's create this brand new program. Let's give all the self-employed unemployment insurance. They never had that before. Now go get it done, states. And that's what we've had to do. And we've got it up and operating. It was a brand new program. They'd never done it before. And we're now processing those claims. And one of the first states in the country to get it done. But I apologize. It's taken a month. And the money is going to go to you, and it's going to go to you retroactively, but that didn't help you for the last month. But they're getting it done now. And a hats off to the guys at the Department of Labor. They were working around the clock to make this happen.
You know, so many of our viewers are writing in about the work that you and your administration has been doing, just all the hours you're putting into it. And I'm just curious, how do you wind down at the end of the day? Where is your moment of calm?
Well, as soon as this interview is over, I head back up. I'll probably have a nice glass of wine with Annie and put my feet up and relax. I still love to take a walk through Elizabeth Park, as you probably know, Dennis. I find a little peace there, although I see they've stopped letting the cars in there, but it makes it even more peaceful. So I find some time for some peace, and I find this an honor, an opportunity. That's why you go into public service, so you can make a difference. And during this COVID crisis, I think a lot of people in state government are making a difference, and I thank them every day.
Well, we thank you for joining us tonight, Governor, and Karen and I might see you in the park some night. We take a walk there quite often to wind down as well. Have a great night, Governor. Thank you.
Bye, Dennis.
And we want to thank the viewers of Connecticut for joining us for this special Thursday night edition of Face the State. Be sure to tune in for Face the State at its regular time, Sunday at 8:30. And our next news is at 11 with Mark and Aaron. Have a great night, everybody. We're in this together. We'll get through this together.